What you're about to listen to is a Bry-Fy production. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Bry-Fy podcast. I'm your host, Bry-Fy, your comics guy, and we got a pretty good episode for you this week. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I think like 7 news items to cover today. Then we're going to be talking about some new things that I've been digesting and having fun with this week, and address some concerns that people have had. I guess I don't know exactly what's going to be going on later in the episode, but hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully you enjoy it, and hopefully you have a fun and safe rest of your week and weekend. So without further ado, let's get on to the nifty nerd news. All right, everybody. So up first in the nifty nerd news, it appears that X-Men 97, which we got a trailer for last week, will not be connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that's been confirmed by the showrunner, Bo DeMaio, which I never really thought it was ever going to be connected to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I guess, I don't know anyone who did, but I guess the showrunner thought, for whatever reason, or maybe he was just asked that in a stupid interview, like, hey, is this going to be connected to the movies at all? No, this is a direct sequel to the 90s animation show, you know, the original X-Men 97. And in fact, they're already working on a season 2 for this X-Men 97, which is pretty cool, really exciting. Like we talked about last week, when I was watching the trailer, I was really shocked and interested to see that, one, Charles Xavier passes away in it. Spoiler alert, that happened way back in the 90s. But the new leader of the X-Men, or maybe not leader of the X-Men, because Cyclops is clearly the leader of the X-Men in this cartoon and based on the trailer, but the owner of Charles Xavier and his estate and like the school is Magneto, his brother in arms. So very interesting. I'm kind of excited to see where that goes, and you know, we'll see. Definitely something I'm going to be checking out. It's going to be on Disney Plus, which I'm already a big fan of because I already pay for it. So give me more content that I want on the things that I pay for. That's all I ask. Is that too hard to do? Well, actually, now that I think about it, a lot of the streaming platforms I pay for are putting out some good stuff here recently. More on that later. Next, it looks like Marvel, or people from Marvel, was already talking about how Jonathan Majors was already being pivoted away from, like Marvel was already pivoting away from Kang and the Kang Dynasty, supposedly before his conviction and before all this assault stuff went down. And I guess they're blaming it on like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania's poor performance, but honestly, I feel like they would have still pushed through anyway, and not like, I don't know, like Marvel, I mean, let's face it, they've put out some not great things in the recent past, but like they've never like cut ties with anybody. They've never like said no. So I don't know. It's really interesting and really weird to me that like this report came out at all. Like, let it die. Let sleeping dogs lie, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We know he did some shit, and some shit was, he did some shitty shit. Some of it wasn't as bad as shitty shit that he did, but he shouldn't have done the shitty shit. Like, I'm sorry, I'm turning to Stan Lee here. No. But like, come on, man. And come on, Marvel. Like, I don't know. I guess it's a slow news week. We had to put shit out there. Speaking of slow news week stuff, in an interview with David Tennant, he said he would love to bring back Kilgrave from Jessica Jones, which I'm a big fan of Kilgrave. His character was so bizarrely different and such a psychological villain versus like just a beat 'em up Thanos type, or like, I mean, really all Now that I think about it, all Marvel villains are basically just super powered bullies, or just super powered this, or another version of the superhero that you have to defeat, and they do, and it's kind of boring. But with Kilgrave was so different than Jessica Jones. Jessica Jones, of course, had super strength, and she could do all these crazy and super heroic things with, like, her strength. And Kilgrave did not have that strength, but he had the ability to control people and control their minds. And he could plant little seeds and little things, and you didn't know who to trust and who was friend or foe, or who could turn on you at any moment. Like, Kilgrave was such a psychological counter, like, to a super physical type person. Like, I don't know. It was just so amazing to me. It was just so compelling. David Tennant is the creepiest, coolest guy that I know. Like, what was it? The villain he plays in the Harry Potter. Man, I can't remember his name. But, like, just the way he plays that. And then, like, he plays a good guy really well, too. He, like, his run in Doctor Who is one of my favorites to watch and see clips from. But, like, his Kilgrave was just so unnerving. So, of course, he'd wants to see that come back. I think, well, at the same time, it's like asking an actor if he wants to work. Well, hell yeah, he's going to want work. But what's great about the Marvel Universe in its current iteration is we're in a multiverse. So we can bring back these characters. Like, there's nothing saying that these characters cannot return. I mean, look at what we did with Spider-Man No Way Home. We got to see Green Goblin. We got to see Doc Ock, Sandman, Electro, the good version. Like, you got to see all these villains come back to face off, and the original actors to face off against Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield. Like, so there is a place in the Marvel Universe for that. I mean, look, we're seeing it with Deadpool, the new movie Deadpool and Wolverine. We thought it was just going to be Deadpool 3, Deadpool and Wolverine. And there looks like they're going to intermingle with the Marvel Universe. Like, things that happen within the Marvel Universe that we've seen already in movies, it looks like he's going to go back and have to deal with those. So it's very interesting and very cool. And I'm pretty excited. Anyway, moving on to other nifty nerd news. Let's see here if I have, before we get the last bit. Oh, here's one. Sorry. So Madam Web came out, and that did absolutely about as poorly as most people predicted. I don't know so much if it was hating on women in movies type thing, or if it's actually a very, very bad movie. But there have been some trusted sources of mine that have said it's not really well done. And that really sucks, because who's the lady who plays Madam Web? I don't know. She was in 50 Shades of Grey. She's really nice. Actually, oh, God, it's going to bug the shit out of me if I don't get this. She has a name. And that's all we need to know. Actually, I could probably just go to IMDb and look her up. But, so yeah, because Madam Web bombed or did not do as well as Dakota Johnson. There it goes. It just popped in my head. Dakota Johnson, which sucks, because I feel like whoever her agent is actively trying to destroy her career. Like, I feel like she gets put on in these not very good movies, and they don't do very well, and she's always the face of whatever movie it is that doesn't do very well, and I'm worried for her because she seems very nice and very funny. I started watching her episode of Saturday Night Live, and I thought it was pretty funny. Like, I'm enjoying it so far, and I'm enjoying her, and so it really sucks that Madam Web is something that, like, she's tied to. But then, once again, I have not actually seen it myself because it's not on a streaming service yet. But once it is, then I'll have a better opinion of it. But currently, public opinion is not very high. So much so that the people over at Sony have decided to pretty much scrap the new Silk movie that they're planning on doing, which I like Silk as a character. And I did not like how she was introduced into the Marvel Universe. If you read the comic books, you kind of know what I'm talking about already. But if you don't, let me quickly explain. So Silk was brought in during the original Sin storyline, I believe it was. And in that, basically Marvel's original Sin stuff was like secret origins of these heroes, or things you didn't know about these heroes and their origin stories, essentially. Where, like, I think I was gonna say Mark Ruffalo's the Hulk, Bruce Banner, who becomes the Hulk, and the bomb that goes off, or the testing that goes off, I believe in original Sin was actually Tony Stark's fault, and so basically he created the Hulk. But for Silk, and that's just an example of it, and I might be wrong about it. And I think Thor discovers something about his, like, every hero has like an original sin about their origin that they just realized now, and are in that time frame back when it was being published. But for Spider-Man, what he realizes, what he sees, is that after the spider bit him, it didn't just die and go away. It had enough life in it to move about the crowd and bite one more person. So a second quote unquote spider person was born, and that person was Cindy Moon, aka Silk. And that's a whole big thing. That she's got another big origin story that is, her story is very interesting and very intertwined, and how it's introduced, and poorly in my opinion, is that she's been in hiding because her family wanted to keep her from being discovered by people. As it turns out, it's the inheritors, who are basically multi-dimensional traveling vampires that seek out spider people throughout the multiverse. And so they're trying to hide her because she's actually a special person, and Peter Parker in the 616 universe, where they're both in, is very special. Original Sin, Peter finds out about her through the vision that he's given, and that happens because the Watcher dies, and it's a whole big thing. And so he goes to find her and release her from her prison, what he thought was a prison, but it turns out it was her sanctuary, which keys the inheritors into realizing where they're all at, and that, like, pieces are coming together and they got to go kill them. But until then, Peter and Cindy, yeah, it is Cindy Moon, right? I think so. I say that, and now I'm like, is that really her name? Well, just Silk and Spider-Man have this weird sexual attraction to one another, and like that's kind of like how she just is brought in as like this hyper sexually active spider person who is just completely infatuated with Spider-Man, and it's because they share the same spider it's bad. It's a fun story after this and as it continues, but her introduction is very terrible, like very cringy, and I guess could only be written by a horny man. But anyway, they were planning on doing all of this to say they were planning on doing a Silk movie that wasn't going to be so much based on her comic book origins. But now, after the failure that Madam Web has seen upon release, they've decided to scrap that, which kind of sucks, because after all this stuff, Silk actually becomes one of my favorite characters, and I really enjoy where the character has gone and her attitude and how she does things. And so, yeah, I'm kind of hurt that this isn't happening, but it almost feels like Sony is just making these craptastic movies just to really keep the rights, not actually make anything good. And plus, they know if they put Spider in anything, they're going to at least get a couple of views. And so, I don't know. I want characters that I like, but I don't want them to be done injustice. And Sony doesn't give a damn about my feelings. speaking of doesn't give a damn. No, sorry, I was looking at it. So we got a new trailer for a movie that has been in the works for quite some time, and finally things about it have released, and that is the Borderlands movie trailer. So we are 100% getting a Borderlands movie. I mean, I knew we were getting a Borderlands movie. I honestly forgot all about it. I think at one point I remember hearing news that Jack Black was cast to voice Claptrap, and I thought, hey, that's not a bad idea. And didn't really read anything else about it. And so the trailer came out, and I only knew the trailer came out because everyone's been shitting on it online. Like, that's the only thing I can say about this. Everyone has been trashing the Borderlands trailer online since it's come out. I think it's only been out for like 2 days, not even, maybe a day at this point. And I was so compelled to watch it. One, I love the Borderland games. The Borderland games are something that I've been playing since its release. I think, what was it? The Xbox 360 is when I first started playing it. And then I've continued through Borderlands, Borderlands 2, Borderlands 3. I actually haven't played the pre-sequel. And I need to play the pre-sequel. I haven't played any of the Telltale games either. But I've always loved like the main 1, 2, like 1, 2, and 3. I remember. Was there 4? Yeah, there was a 4, right? I think there. I don't know. I've played the newest one, and I know it was a numbered version, and I really liked it. Like, I really enjoyed everything about it. It was the one with like those crazy ass twins. Was that 3 or 4? No, I think it was 4. But anyway, so because of my love for this franchise and the video games, I decided to watch this trailer because I got to form my own opinion. And I have to say that I have mixed feelings about this trailer, because if I didn't know anything about Borderlands, or like it, not that, but if I wasn't so in love with the video games, if I wasn't so enthralled with the characters and so connected or felt connected to it, I think I would really love this trailer. And so with that in mind, like my overall feeling on this is I think I'm going to like this movie because at its core, I feel like it has enough there to be a fun movie. And that's what Borderlands should be. Borderlands should be fun. And the trailer seems like it's going to be fun. It is a little bit different than what the video games are. And the characters that are coming together in this storyline are actually spanning from multiple games into this, like, first movie or one movie. I don't know if there's going to be multiple movies. I don't know anything. I don't know what their plans are. I'm hoping it's just going to be one movie, unless it's craptastic, and then I hope for a reboot. But on the, like, my initial thought on this was I was happy. Like, it didn't really throw me off that much. I say that because, and where I heard a lot of the criticism, and I couldn't help but also kind of tilt my head a little bit at it, was the casting. The casting was just a little strange. And so I'll start with my favorites. I for sure like Jack Black as Claptrap, although the other part of me is like, how hard would it have been to get the original voice actor for the video games to do the voice of Claptrap for the movie? He doesn't have to, like, be in the scenes, you know, he's just voiceover stuff. So I was kind of a little curious about that, but again, I like Jack Black's version and take on Claptrap. I think he fits it very well, and I think he's going to do very well. But then again, is this Claptrap? Well, I'm assuming it is because the other characters are who they are. Looks like we're getting what's his name? Craig the Psycho. Is it Craig or Krieg the Psycho? He just has to be a psycho. He doesn't really talk in the trailer, so I don't really know. But overall, his physique and everything looks like a psycho, so I dig that. You have Tiny Tina, who I forgot who plays her, Ariana something, and the look is cool, like I dig it, but I don't know. It's like the actress, and it almost seems like the lines are being forced too hard. And I don't know if I really care about that. But then, like, is that my own bias because I'm so attached to the video games and love the Tiny Tina that we get in the video games over her? And then there's a girl on TikTok who does Tiny Tina's voice and dubbed over the girl's parts in the trailer, and it sounds amazing. So I don't know. I'm a little on the fence about that. And like, but these are like nitpicky things like, oh, it could have been so much more like the video game, you know? I think where everyone, and it is funny, I think the one thing that a lot of people are hung up on the cast, and I'm actually not, are the two people, is Kevin Hart as Roland, which Roland's like a big hulking dude over 6 foot tall and like a universal soldier type person. But I actually like that Kevin Hart's doing this because I think he has the comedic chops to kind of like play off of this. I mean, it's a crazy world. Roland would, I guess, technically be your straight man. And I think Kevin Hart's kind of funny straight man silliness, I think fits well with the character. So I'm actually not upset with Kevin Hart playing Roland. And I'm really not upset with Kate Blanchett as Lilith. Now, everyone's biggest gripe on that was that she's too old. Like, she can't be Lilith, she's too old. But I really don't care. Because I'm not looking for any weird romance stuff out of this movie. I want a fun kick-ass time. And so I don't really care about the age. I don't think she looks crazy old. She doesn't look older than Dr. Tannis, who is what's her name? Freaky Friday, Halloween, all the great movies. I can't remember. But and yeah, Dr. Tannis is in this as well. But like, Kate Blanchett is a great actress, great actor, great human being, and is also a huge nerd. Which is fun, you know, like, I think she's in this because she really likes the characters, and I really like and admire that she would want to be a part of this. And I'm about to go to the cast to confirm who Dr. Tannis is. Okay, so Tiny Tina is Ariana Greenblatt, whoever that is. And let's see. Jamie Lee Curtis. Why could I not think of Jamie Lee Curtis at all? I don't know, man. It's going to be pretty awesome. And I'm actually kind of excited. Like, the more I think about them, I know I'm going to be excited about this because I like the games and I want anything that I can. Any more Borderlands that I can get, I want. And I think that's really, I'm just choosing to be more positive about this and have a positive outlook, because then if I don't, I will just be another angry keyboard wielder on the internet. And I don't want to be that. I want to be at least some type of balance of objectiveness to this, because I get it. Not all people who are going to see this movie are going to be fans of the games. So not all people are going to have the biases of the games to go watch this movie. And I think that if you come into this movie like that, not having the biasness of this game, you will actually enjoy it. And I think those of us who are in love with the game and play the games religiously, or even just enough to think we're upset about this, I think if you just take a step back and realize, or just tell yourself, this is not the game, this is just a retelling or just a different story with the same characters, maybe you will have fun. Like, and I mean, we've talked about this in other episodes. I'm more to want to have fun. I want to enjoy things. Whether or not they're good or bad, I want to enjoy them. And I think I'm going to enjoy Borderlands. It definitely has a Guardians of the Galaxy feel to it. I mean, we've had stuff like Guardians of the Galaxy, Suicide Squad, and now we're going to get like the Thunderbolts. But before then, we're getting Borderlands, which is going to be another like bunch of misfits put together to like classic rock music trailer and kill things. And Borderlands is a bloody kill fest. So we don't get too much of that in the trailer. So I'm kind of interested to see how violent this movie really gets. I'm excited, honestly. And that's pretty much it, man. I think that's all I'm going to cover for the Nifty Nerd News. Oh, yeah, McDonald's is getting an anime and a new chicken nugget sauce, which is not the Szechuan sauce that they're bringing back. It's another Asian spicy sauce. I don't know. And like, what's funny, so if you ever watch, okay, we're going into this. I didn't think I was. I was just going to say it in passing. But if you ever watch any anime and they bring up a burger place that looks very much like McDonald's, but the M is upside down to a W. And it's usually called like Whackdonald's or Wonald. Like they always have a funny not McDonald's name because, trademarked and shit like that. But now McDonald's is leaning into that, and for a limited time, they're calling themselves WickDonald's with the upside down M in honor of anime worldwide. And there's actually going to be a small anime series for this releasing sometime. I don't know where you're going to be able to see it. Maybe it'll be on YouTube. Who knows? But I'm really excited to see it. I kind of want to try the new McNugget sauce because one, I like Asian spice sauce. Like I love the spiciness and the sweetness of all that. So of course I'm going to try it. And because I like things, I choose to like things and not hate things. You haters. Anyway, so that was the last bit of Nifty Nerd News. Let's move on to what I wanted to review for this week. All right, guys. So this week, actually, I've been sitting down to do quite a few things. I've been playing Pokemon, the game again. I've been playing Pal World, but I haven't played enough to really give you a good review on it. And of course, Pal World is Pokemon with guns, or what everyone's been calling it. Initial thought, like it. And that's as far as we'll go from there. But what I have been indulging with this week, or at least watched the very first episode to, was the new Avatar: The Last Airbender that is releasing on Netflix now. And the reviews are at least from what I've seen a lot of hate. I've seen a lot of people not happy with it. The one that really made me get off my ass and go watch it was some chick on TikTok who was furious at what they did to Aang. And they're like, he was flying and doing she didn't like any of it. And I just thought it was just so misplaced gatekeeping rage that I needed to see this. And I gotta tell you, after watching the first episode, I really like what I'm seeing. I don't know where the hate's coming from, man. I think these people have forgotten what M. Night Shyamalan has done to Avatar: The Last Airbender and how much better this new Airbender show is compared to what was the movie. It just boggles my mind that people could not like this because honestly, I really enjoyed it. And I'm liking the pacing. It is fast paced. If you watched the cartoon or the anime, whatever you want to call it, I call it anime. Most people call it cartoon, but I can't remember how many episodes it is till we get to like the Southern Air Temple where Aang is trying to see all his friends and realizes they're gone and like they're not coming back. Like it's bad. We get into that like a little over halfway through the first episode. And I think there's only 8 episodes, so we gotta move fairly quickly, right? And I think there's only 8 episodes. I can't remember. But it moves, man. You're getting a quick paced story, you're getting movement on a show, and I actually really like it. I like the characters. There are changes. I'm not gonna say this is not the cartoon brought to life. This is definitely a reimagining of the show for maybe darker is kind of the wrong term, but it's definitely a darker tone, like a more serious tone than the anime was. In like Aang and Kitara and Sokka, but there is still moments of joy and lightheartedness that I do like. To me, there is one character that I am not completely on board with, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But of course, the story of Avatar is Aang, who is an airbender, becomes the Avatar after the previous one passes away, because anytime there can only be one Avatar, but every time the Avatar passes away, they are essentially reincarnated into another person. This person this time is Aang, who is an airbender. The Fire Nation basically wants control of the world, and the only person that can stop them is the Avatar. And they don't know who the Avatar is, but they know the Avatar is an airbender. So how do you solve this problem? You kill all the airbenders. They do just that. Aang, while on the run or stressed or for whatever reason, leaves the temple prior to this happening, so he doesn't know that they all get wiped out. But it gets frozen in ice for over 100 years. When he comes to, he meets Sokka and Katara and finds out about the Fire Nation controlling everything. 100 years is being the last airbender because all the other airbenders were wiped out of existence. And then they go on their journey for Aang to fully realize himself as the Avatar so he can defeat the Fire Nation. Like, that's pretty much the story in a nutshell, with some fun along the way. And what I do like about episode 1 of the live action show is we get to see what happens at the Air Temple. We start 100 years in the past versus where the show the anime starts. And we get to see all that. We get to see Aang freeze himself in the ice and time pass and all that. And I actually appreciated that. I think it's good for people who have never seen the anime, so that way they are kind of on board with where this kid's coming from. And I think because of this, it puts in perspective, or at least gives a little more thought or feeling to why Aang is a little more angsty. Ha! Look what I did. And I appreciate that. And to me, it makes sense within the boundaries of this. Like, the characters and their attitudes and how they behave make sense within the boundaries of what they've established for the show and the tone that they've set for the show. And I appreciate that, and I like that. My biggest favorite thing about this show is the fight choreography. Whereas in the first movie, M. Night Shyamalan's movie, everything felt slow and rigid and overperformative. This felt like real fighting. This felt fast. This felt exciting. And I really appreciated that, and I really enjoyed that. And to me, that's going to be my big plus for this show. You should watch this solely based on the fight choreography and all that. I think it's really fun. There is only one character I am still not on board with, and that is Uncle Iroh. He has the attitude. I just don't care for his delivery. I don't know what it is, but and maybe he just hasn't grown on me yet, because he's still like in that serious phase where you don't really know who he is as a person. All you know is he's the uncle to Prince Zuko, who's a very angsty firebender trying to kill the Avatar, capture the Avatar so that he can return home with pride for his father, who is the Fire Nation Lord. And so you won't find out until later Uncle Iroh's personality and what his beliefs are. You get a glimpse of that in episode 1, and I really appreciate that, because it gives you a look right away within the first episode that not all Fire Nation people are bloodthirsty monsters that want to wipe out the Avatar and everything like that. And I think that's important because the world is a big place. It gets smaller every day, but the world is still a big place where not everyone thinks the same. And I like to see that in this show, and I think it's a good message. I think it was in the anime too, but as someone who's watching this for the first time and trying to figure it out, because I don't know. I'm going off on a ramble there, but I like his character. He's one of my favorite characters in the anime, and so I just want them to do him justice. And I currently not fully in love, but there are bits and pieces there that I like, and I can't wait to see fully bloom later in the show. Overall, though, I like it. I enjoy it. I think the casting was great. I think the fight choreography is really good. The CGI for like the element battles is really fun and fantastic. There was the one scene that this person on TikTok was really upset with happens very early on, and it was like she was upset because Aang was flying around like without his glider and stuff. And when I came to that, and I knew it was happening because it was the only thing that made sense. And it's not that he's just flying around, but he's more gliding down to the ground, and he's using air bending to help him do that. I get that she was upset because Aang never really did anything too much like that. Oh, wait. Yeah, he did. He created like an air ball that he flew around in like an electric scooter. So, yeah, Aang, to me, it's something really stupid to be upset about because we've seen in the show him do other things even more ridiculous or similar to that. So, I don't know. I just thought it was misplaced rage. And honestly, I think this is a good adaptation of the Avatar: The Last Airbender anime. And I'm excited to watch the rest of it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think it's going to be really well done. And when I started seeing people not like it, I got really worried until I saw it for myself and realized there's nothing to worry about, that this is going to be a good show. I think Netflix is finally getting it right. I honestly say that Cowboy Bebop was the turning point where they took, like, everything before Cowboy Bebop was really bad. Cowboy Bebop was mid with glimpses of excellence, in my opinion. I really wanted to like Cowboy Bebop a lot more than I ended up not liking it. Like, not that I didn't like it, but I wanted to like it a lot more than I did. And that's because I think there were still some things there. And then maybe I was still like biased against Netflix for their anime adaptations. But looking back on it now, there's a lot of good things about it that I do like. There's still some things that are very cringy and we won't talk about. But there are more good things than bad in that. And then you get One Piece. One Piece, chef's kiss. Mwah. Perfect. Loved it. Thought it had great pacing, thought great characters. And now you're getting Avatar, which, again, I think is great. I think it's got great casting, great choreography, and it's going to... I like this trend that I'm seeing with Netflix and their anime, cartoon adaptations into live action. Hopefully, this continues going forward. But that's all I got today or this week for the episode. Thank everyone for stopping by, saying hi, and being a part of the Bry-Fy guy. So next, I don't know what we're going to do next, actually. Maybe I'll get some more. Oh, no, forget. Next week, I will be at firefighting school and probably won't have any time to record. So we're going to have an off week next week while I go get my ass kicked at fire school. Maybe I'll get some pictures or some video for you guys, share it on social media. But until then, see y'all next time. Bry-Fy out.